Okay, welcome back. Okay, next story. World Vision supports gay marriage, then retracts after massive pressure. World Vision is a charity organization that instead of giving food and clothes and stuff, or the common things, food and clothes, they actually kind of specialize in animals, giving goats, chickens, pigs, a donkey, ducks, small animals to poor families. And I think Africa, I mean, all over the world, Mexico, all over the place. Well, and they're a Christian organization, and the Bible says that man should not lie with another man as with mankind, womankind. Leviticus 18, somewhere in there, you can search for it. Just read the whole chapter if you have to. So they were going to support gay marriage, and then people found out about it, and all of a sudden they retract. So be on the lookout for that organization. Even if they retract, you still know where their heart is. I mean, they're completely compromised. And so this one is sanctioned crime because I do believe that homosexuality is a crime. That's strange for you guys out there to hear. I didn't used to believe that, but I grew up and realized that God is the most important thing. And then I asked myself, well, which God is the most important thing? And I discovered that the God of the Bible is the real Bible. So whatever he says is the most important thing, and he doesn't like it, so I don't like it. It's simple as that. I don't have to justify beyond that. Some people say, "Oh man, you have a virus in your mind. You're a corrupted computer. Your mind isn't right. You should be thrown in prison." And I can see how they can come to that conclusion when they don't respect God. But looking at from my vision, my perspective in my shoes, if you don't respect God, to me, that's like, oh, you're the one that has the virus in your mind. But I wouldn't say you should be thrown in jail unless you hurt somebody or destroy someone's property. I don't think you should be thrown in jail for any of that. If you hurt someone, well, I'm not going to get into that, but definitely property, you just pay for it, you pay. Anyways, so next story. Timothy Leonard Tyler, born 1968, is an American serving life in prison for possession and distribution of LSD. So the beginning of this well, maybe not the beginning, but the beginning of the police state might have had its beginnings in the drug war, this guy was, let me restart my thought here. I'm not sure when the drug war occurred, somewhere in the 70s probably, and it's basically using the police to spy on everyone. So this poor man is still in prison, and it's just a reminder of the wickedness of this country. It's been going on since the 70s. I don't know how that stuff got passed through. People saying, you're going to throw someone in prison for the rest of their life because they distribute a certain chemical that people take voluntarily. Even if you force it on people, I'd be like, that's kind of, I'd have to look and see what kind of damage was done. But anyways, that's how wicked this nation is. If you don't see it, then you're just blind. Anyways, so the label on this one is despotism, because a person has the right to sell something to someone else if they want it, and it's nobody's business. That's my perspective. And you can try to give me some kind of radical deal and say, oh, an atomic bomb, you think if someone can sell someone an atomic bomb, then that's fine. That's a good argument, but the governments are the worst. Governments have killed more people than anything else, even religion. I know people like to point out Christianity in the Middle Ages, but that wasn't Christianity, that was the Roman Catholic Church. So I wouldn't trust governments with atomic bombs, so I'd say, yeah, if they can have them, we should have them. Because governments aren't your friend, and even the founders of this country recognized that. They said government is a fire. Who can control it, man? It's a force. People get power and they go nuts. And And so government is not to be trusted either. So, and look where we are. The only government to be trusted is the one by God, because He's created everything and He's perfect. So, next story is the U.S. Department of Education has punished the state of Oklahoma for repealing the Common Core standards and reverting to its previous academic standards by rescinding the state's waiver from No Child Left Behind. I guess a waiver is a fancy way of saying money. Some kind of money is attached to a waiver, or you're waiving a fee. We waive this fee, and you no longer have to pay it. So that's been rescinded. The loss of the waiver means that 100% of Oklahoma students must be performing math and reading at grade level at most schools by this school year. The U.S. Department of Education expects the state to use student test results from last school year to determine which schools are meeting the requirement. Those schools that fall short will have to take steps towards improvement, which could include a total reconfiguration of the staff or private or state takeover of the school. How great. The state can take it over if they're not doing... They already have it taken over. It's a government school. I'm not sure how that comes in, but probably make a charter school out of it. And there's something about those charter schools that are wicked. I'm not sure what it is, but you could look it up. I think they get more control over some stuff. And the label on this one is despotism on the federal level. The states are supposed to have their own rights to do things. And that's simply not the case. The federal government controls it all, and the states bow down, which is not supposed to do. The states are actually supposed to have most of the power in America, while the federal government has a very small power that is that's only given in the U.S. Constitution. They have very little power. The federal government's supposed to. But as we were saying, government can't be controlled, and now look what's happened. Now all that took place during the Civil War, when Abraham Lincoln basically created the federal coup. That's what I would say. I'm not a historian. I'm not an expert on this, man, but somewhere around there, Civil War, Lincoln. I understand that before that. Well, anyways, okay. Next story. A Satanist statue cast in bronze is just months away from completion, and activists hope that it will find a home on the lawn of the Oklahoma State Capitol. So another story from Oklahoma. So the Satanists want a statue on the state capitol of the enemy, the wicked one. So that's what comes to happen, which is ridiculous. And I guess on that one would be, I don't have a label for it, but if I had to be given one, sanctioned crime would kind of fall in there. People say, oh, well, Satan really doesn't, if we're Satanists, we really just say that you should do what thou willst. Whatever you want to do is fine as long as you don't hurt people. But that's not true Satanism. I mean, we all know who Satan is. You can look him up in every language, and then you can recognize there's a similar sound in all the languages. But so I would call it sanctioned crime because you're basically sanctioning a religion that's fundamentally, morally depraved, and you're saying that's fine, which it's not. Moral depravity is wicked, and it should never be promoted. It should be made ashamed, and we should all wouldn't give those people their business if... Anyways. Okay, next story. Federal court gives early Christmas present to war criminals Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, and others, immunizing them from civil inquiry regarding Iraq. The decision guts Nuremberg, Komar said. Nuremberg said that domestic immunity was no defense to a claim of international aggression. This court has said the opposite. In August 2013, Obama's Department of Justice requested that the lawsuit be dismissed pursuant to the Westfall Act, a federal law that immunizes any government official from a civil lawsuit if that official was acting within the scope of his office or employment. Judge John S. Tigar, an Obama appointee, ruled that the defendants were shielded by the Westfall Act regardless of the allegations made in the complaint. So you're immune if you hold an office or employment. This is my own regurgitation of this. If you hold an office or employment and it's high enough, you can be immune from anything, because they can just say it was a part of it falls within the scope of the office that you were doing. So it's pretty wicked, and this definitely falls under criminal sanctioning criminal behavior, sanctioned crime. And we'll move on to the next one in the next part.